What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog. Got a fun little best of one combo list for you guys. That's right, playing a combo deck. So I'm a trained professional, so do not try this at home. So the reason I built this one is the new card we got here, Mythos of Snapdax. It's a 4-mana sorcery. Each player chooses an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker from among the non-land permanents they control, then sacrifices the rest. If you spend black and red to cast it, we get to choose the permanents for each player instead. So we're going to choose our own permanents to keep, and we sacrifice everything else. And we're spending Mardu colors here. We get to choose the permanents on our opponent's side they get to keep, and they have to sacrifice the rest. So this is fantastic because it obviously gets around things like hexproof, things like that. But then they do get to keep something around. However, the way we're going to kind of leverage that with our combo kill is Mayhem Devil. Of course, a 3/3 for 3 mana. And whenever any player sacrifices a permanent, Mayhem Devil deals 1 damage to any target. So this counts for so everything that's getting sacrificed is going to go on the stack, and we're going to just ping down our opponent's life total, and our whatever creature we let our opponent keep, or their smallest creature, obviously, ping that off, and then our Mayhem Devil can then attack in as a clear attacks, and if of course the Mayhem Devil triggers aren't enough. So we want to have a bunch of creatures out, kind of get into a board stall situation where our opponent doesn't have good attacks, and we have multiple Mayhem Devils out to get as many triggers as possible, and then we cast the Mythos of Snapdax, and then we just get a million sacrifice triggers off of that, and we use the Mayhem Devil to kind of ping down our opponent to either kill them or to put them down to near lethal. And sometimes that's not always enough, depending on how many creatures you've been able to get on your board state, how aggressive your opponent has been with your life total, how quickly you need to get your combo off, all those different little things. So it is pretty fragile, only works against certain matchups, but when it does go off, it is glorious. And this Mythos of Snapdax card is something I've had my eye on for a while. And so this is kind of a build that I've had some success with. Obviously, it doesn't work against a lot of matchups. When it does work, it's pretty fantastic. So another thing we want to do is to kind of have creatures with the sort of afterlife effect. So when they die, they leave behind a creature token. And that can also be a way to kind of close out games if the Mayhem Devil triggers aren't enough to kill your opponent. So obviously if your opponent is not playing creatures, or if your opponent has life gain, this deck is not going to work so well. But as long as your opponent is playing creatures, and you can kind of keep them from attacking into you, then you can do fantastic. We also have additional ways with the Cruel Celebrant and Bastion of Remembrance, where they each basically say when your opponent, when creature you control dies, your opponent loses 1 and you gain 1. So the Cruel Celebrants and Bastion of Remembrance can also help us drain your opponent's life total, in addition to the 1 damage for each sacrificed permanent as well. So we got Bastion also puts out 1/1 soldier token as well. And we also got the Orzhov Enforcer with our Afterlife theme and its Death Touch. So this can be a way to kind of disincentivize your opponent from attacking into you because of the Death Touch. Same thing here with the Foulmire Knight. It's a 1-mana Death Touch creature, and then of course it's got the adventure side where at 3 mana you can draw a card. Since we're kind of a combo deck, we need to kind of have ways to draw into our combo, our hopefully multiple Mayhem Devils, and then 1, potentially even 2 Mythos of Snapdax to kind of close out the game. And then of course the Garrison Cat and Hunted Witness are 1/1s for 1 that also leave behind 1/1 tokens as well. And then Tithe Taker is a 2/1 for 2 mana. Also leaves behind 1 spirit token as well when it dies. And a little bit of side here with making your opponents pay more mana to cast spells on your turn or to activate abilities as well. So that's pretty sweet. And then rounding things out here, we have 2 copies of the Wishclaw Talisman. It's kind of our tutor effect for the Mayhem Devil or Mythos of Snapdax, whatever piece we're missing to get our combo off. And obviously your opponent is going to get in control of it after you activate it, but hopefully you can tutor up like a Mythos of Snapdax and then cast it, and you already have your Mayhem Devils out and a Cruel Celebrant maybe, and things like that to just to kind of close out the game. And hopefully it won't matter that your opponent gets control of it as well. So we are a little bit mana hungry because of the 4 mana here, potentially needing to activate the Wishclaw Talisman to search up. So we are running a full 24 lands. We have the one Castle Ardenvale as another way to kind of pump out tokens if we are in those board stall situations to kind of get additional creatures that will be sacrificed at some point. And then the one Castle Locthwain, another way can help us draw into our pieces as well. And then 2 plains, 2 swamp, 2 mountain, all of the shocklands, just 2 of the triomes, and then 2 Fabled Passage. Alright, so it is just kind of a fragile little best of 1 list. I don't think there's really a good way to make it into a best of 3, so we're just going to jump into it and see if we can get this combo off. Alright, against Turbo Wee Wee. It's not a keepable hand. It's not great, but I think we'll keep the creatures here. Just lead with our 1-drops. We'll lead with the go with the Triome and Witness next turn. If our opponent has an empty board, we'll go and crash in for 1, chip away at their life total. And probably just go Enforcer and play the Foundry tapped. Barkide Troll. Cruel Celebrant is good to see. So we got the Enforcer, so that's going to hopefully disincentivize them from attacking in. So next turn we can either Bastion or Cruel Celebrant. If we're still at 3 lands, probably just go for the Bastion. Just to be more mana efficient, since we have plenty of 1-drops that we can potentially play a Celebrant and a 1-drop the following turn. Okay, so our opponent's playing lots of creatures, good. Don't want them to attack here. We want our opponent to keep all their creatures on board. They're going to attack anyway, sure. Well, we're going to deal with this Barkide Troll with the Enforcer. This is obviously one of those growth cycle, giant growth decks, but that's fine. Opponent taking all day there to hold priority on the attacks. Get our Bastion down. We have plenty of chump blockers, but they are going to have a growth effect. It's going to attack in with the Flyer to kind of chip away at their life total. I think we're fine with taking a little bit of damage from the Greenwood Sentinel doing shenanigans with the giant growth effects. Okay, there's a seasoned growth, so they're going to get a bunch of card draw. I'm not too worried about it. We would just want them to prefer they play more creatures and less spells, but go and let them do their tricks. No tricks. There's a Mayhem Devil, that's cool. We'll play the devil up. And we're going to keep chipping away with our Flyer, just get their life total nice and low, and hopefully they have more creatures to play. That's why I didn't want them to attack in with the Barkide Troll. I want everybody to keep their creatures around so we get as many triggers off the devil as possible. But our opponent either wanted to get rid of it, or they didn't realize it had Death Touch. Maybe they're a newer player. Like these mono green lists tend to be pretty new player friendly. Play a bunch of cheap creatures, play a season growth and a bunch of growth effects. Obviously very susceptible to removal, which we're not really running because we want to run as many creatures as possible. And again, we're fine with just taking a little bit of damage here. As they go off and play a bunch of growth effects and get in for a lot. Not really sure why they're not going for that. So I guess we're just going to have to play... we're going to have to be the ones playing all the creatures. So we have a Mayhem Devil, Bastion, and Cruel Celebrant down, so that's pretty sweet. We just need to find a Mythos of Snapdax, and we'll be in pretty good shape. And hopefully our opponent has more creatures to play. We want all the triggers that we can. I'm really not sure what they're holding up. They have plenty of cards in hand. They have mana to cast stuff. Maybe they're just trying to save it. If I were them, I would just cast the spells just to get the season growth card draw going. Punch through for more damage to put me into a situation where I have to block. Maybe they're just holding up a bunch of 6 drop creatures like Aggressive Mammoth and things like that. Gargos. We're pretty wide, so now our opponent maybe has to think about whether they want to attack in at all. It's not a situation where we want to block with multiple things, so they're just going to have a growth effect, and I don't want to see a Voracious Hydra, because then our Mayhem Devil is probably going down here. They double the counters, perfect. They just have a slow connection over there. They're tapped out, so I think we take the blocks here. We just keep crashing in with our little flyer here, chipping away at them, make this easier to combo off. So they do have trample on the Hydra now with all of our little creatures. That's not good for us, so we do need to find something. Either another Death Touch creature or just the Mythos here probably at some point. Okay, there's the Gargos as well. There's no reason not to attack with the Hydra, but they might not want to lose it to us blocking with everything. And of course the Gargos can now start fighting things once they target it with their growth effects. Another Mayhem Devil. Well, we need to find our Mythos of Snapdax here soon, or they're just gonna pick off these Mayhem Devils with Gargos and trample through with the Hydra. So hopefully we can get our opponent to play conservatively, or they just don't have good spells to play. They're attacking with both. Well, the Gargos does not have trample, so we'll just chump block there and take the 6 and see what kind of tricks they have. 3 cards in hand. Okay, they get the fight effect with Gargos, at least 1. And draw a card. Going for Cruel Celebrant, sure. The Mayhem Devils are the key creatures. It's a pretty awkward matchup. I think we've had a Mythos there. We can still win, but time is kind of running out. Especially if Gargos is able to pick off our Mayhem Devils, then we're going to be in a pretty rough spot. That's why we have cards like Wishclaw Talisman in here to find our Mythos. Oof. There it is. Alright, so how do we want to do this? So obviously they have growth effects, so we can target, keep the Sentinel alive and then target it for 2, but then they probably have ways to keep it alive. Do we have enough to kill them? I think with the double Mayhem Devil and Bastion we do. But just to be sure, let's attack in through the air. And then fire off this Mythos of Snapdax, and I believe we have it. Probably have it right now already at 11, because we'll get a bunch of Bastion triggers and then doubling up the Mayhem Devil triggers, so yeah. Just a matter of our opponent letting us do it. So attack in for 1 in the air, just to be sure. Alright, extra little bit of life total. Okay, make sure we pay with Rakdos colors. Keep you can keep you. And yeah, that's a game. Just all at face. A lot of clicking. Nice if they had some kind of an option to select all or something like that. The Bastion triggers are automatic. That's going to ping him down pretty low just with the Bastion of Remembrance. With the Cruel Celebrant out, that probably would have been enough to kill them right there. And here's where the Afterlife triggers come in. Against other decks, you could ping off this creature and then have the Afterlife tokens to swing in next turn. But yeah. Million triggers on the stack still, and we killed our opponent. Alright, so that's how the deck works. Obviously when it does go off, it's pretty glorious. But obviously it's very matchup and draw dependent. So not something I would recommend, but it is super fun to play just for those times when it does actually go off. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Alright, take care.